Hi. I thought it would be kind of fun to come on here and talk about how I became a Pilates instructor kind of by accident. So, if you are in New York City and you're a fellow dancer or freelance artist, I feel like we've all kind of explored this struggle before, where you go through periods where you're booked and busy, and then you have long periods where it's like crickets, or maybe you don't, and good for you. I was experiencing that, and I simultaneously at one point had a full-time 9 to 5 job, and it was exhausting. I felt like anything I did after 5, I was too tired to show up fully for, so I wasn't able to really feel that invested. It was like a mental and physical soul-sucking experience for me to be in a 9 to 5. Some people love that. That just like wasn't for me, especially if you're trying to pursue art. It's like not possible. If you get a contract and you're expected to audition tomorrow in the middle of the afternoon, like you better be there, because if you can't, there's 500 other people who can. So was really kind of dealing with that experience. And when I left that job, it opened up a whole lot of time, but also ways for me to think about employment and income. And I want a job where I can work the hours that I need, and it might be really off hours. Like maybe I want to work really early in the morning, or maybe I want to work like 5 to 9 p.m. If that's what my schedule allows. I needed that flexibility. So amidst that kind of a bit of urgency, because like I didn't have a job, so I was like, okay, I like Pilates. A lot of dancers, it's kind of parallel to that world. You either become a fitness instructor or you already practice Pilates as like a form of cross training and restoration for your body. So I had already some experience in reformer Pilates, no mat Pilates experience. I thought, okay, I'll go through a teacher training program. Let me do some research and see. I knew it was expensive, so that part was a little scary, but it was kind of like, I keep hearing, it's an investment. And I'm like, okay, it's like also an education. So I chose, after asking some friends who were very helpful, I chose the Balanced Body program, which each session is kind of like a la carte, so you can do it at your own pace. I could make a whole video on my experience of Balanced Body as well. If you're interested, let me know. I'd be happy to make that. But I was like, okay, I'll do this. I'll start with Reformer and see kind of like where it goes. I didn't even know if teaching Pilates was going to be for me. So I didn't have many goals going into it, which could have been good. I started with a movement principles class and then a Reformer 1 and 2. I loved it, and I felt like if I don't teach, at least I have this repertoire in my brain for my own personal practice. I felt like sometimes I'd take a group class and I'd be like, I know I'm following everybody, and there's a truck outside. I'm following along, but am I really feeling the movement how it should be? Like that was never broken down. There's just no time in a group class. So it was a great way to experience the movement more focused and intentional. So like if anything, worst case, I have that, right? My mentor was very much like, guys, don't sit on your education. Get your practice hours in. Like, what are you waiting for? If you want to do it now, do it now. There's no point in waiting. So I was like, okay. I kind of recruited a lot of friends, like roommates, people in the Pilates community that were also doing their teacher education training. Everyone I could think of, ballet dancers. I formed a really great community of people that way. And I started doing the practice teaching. And the more I taught and the more I learned, I was like, oh wow, this is really interesting. So I decided to apply for a private studio that was closer to where I was living in Brooklyn. And I got accepted to the position contingent upon completing my comprehensive certification. And this is kind of like, oh, not something I was really thinking about doing, but okay, like that makes sense. It'd be good to have all of the education. So I did my Reformer 3 course. I think I did MAT after that, and actually the more I learned, it just was like a snowball effect. I was like, oh, what she's doing over there looks really interesting on the chair. Like, I want to learn that apparatus. Or the ladder barrel. Like, what are they doing over there? That's so cool. I want to understand that. Or the Cadillac. Like, I was obsessed with the trapeze table. Like, it's so cool. I want to flip upside down like that, but I want to know, like, what I'm doing. So it just snowballed, and all the courses were kind of lining up with my schedule, so I was able to make it work. And through all this education, I'm simultaneously teaching privates in a comprehensively certified studio. So I have other instructors I can ask questions or watch a session. I can use my teacher hours like while I'm teaching clients. Like, it was a great experience. And eventually I was like, what am I waiting for? I want to take the test while this knowledge is still fresh. So about a year from the time I was working as an instructor, I got my full comprehensive certification. So being a mover and a ballet dancer specifically, movement is just like, it's a part of us, and it was a very natural transition for me. I still am dancing, but the beauty of this Pilates education, Balanced Body is international. I think I mentioned this already. So you can teach anywhere, and you're a 1099 contractor, at least at the studios that I've worked at in Brooklyn and Manhattan. You're not a W-4 or like a full-time employee. Like, you choose your schedule. So that meant if I had a contract with a ballet company or a ballet gig that was 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks, I could take that time to go and do ballet. If I also wanted to, I could make my schedule, okay, for these 4 weeks, I'm only going to teach from 6 in the morning till 9 a.m. Or I can teach from 5 until 9 p.m. when I'm done with my rehearsals. Like, this totally changed how I'm able to make money, teach, stay active, and also dance. Like, I wasn't expecting this for myself, and it really just kind of snowballed and worked itself out. So if you're like on the fence, I'd say like get your toes wet, see how you like it. If teaching's not for you, like, you will still get something out of the teacher trainings. But if you're thinking about it, do your research and pick a program that would align with your goals and your needs. I'm happy to make a video about that as well, and maybe some things that I wish I knew first going into the teacher training. That definitely would have helped me like be a little bit more prepared for what to expect. Because I definitely learned some things about the industry once I kind of got going. But overall, it's been a really positive experience. I never imagined that I would be doing this, but it all like happened for a reason. And now that I'm doing it, I'm like, I can't imagine not doing it, sort of a thing. It's so natural. And one thing I really love is, because I'm still in the dance community, I'm really focused on wanting to work with dancers. And I get what they're going through, and maybe, especially younger up and coming like pre-professional dancers who really need to understand their bodies so they can, perform at that next level, which is that professional bracket, if you will. So they need to understand their bodies and their capabilities, which maybe even further than they're pushing themselves. but they just lack the connection to their body that could be producing like even greater results, things like this. So, and that, along with also something I didn't expect from this experience, was the way that it really calms your nervous system. Pilates has a lot of breath work, and it's intentional breathing. But when you're really focused for an hour on movement and how your body is responding to breath and movement, it's really calming. It's really peaceful. You're in this like flow state. And similar to dance, I was really able to like appreciate that. I was like, oh wow, I can really feel my body and I feel good after. I don't feel like, I don't know, like drained or like heavy and lethargic. You feel like, okay, I just did a Pilates class. I feel so in tune with my body. Like, let me see what else I can do. Like, let me go to a ballet class right now, or let me go to the gym and like lift some weights. I mean, it's to each their own, but this was such an unexpected experience for me. I love how everything transformed. I'm still teaching. I teach a lot of privates. I taught some group classes. They require very different kinds of energy, so I decided to stick more with privates, and I'm starting my library of virtual classes, which I really love. I love to be creative and get to just kind of, it's like choreography in a way. So there's a lot of parallels. It just like naturally happened. I feel very lucky for that. But it was a very positive experience, especially living in New York. I don't know the facts on this, but I saw something that there's more Pilates studios in New York City than there are Starbucks coffee company, you know? So that there is a big need for teachers, and because of this like boom of Pilates, it was very convenient for me to find a position at a studio, which I am very grateful for. I know a lot of teacher trainings are happening, so I don't know how that theory still holds up, you know, a year later. Yeah. But if you guys are interested in hearing about like my teacher training experience and how that went and what, you know, some things I wish I knew going into it, I'd be happy to make a video. I just thought it would be interesting to kind of share kind of how I ended up here on YouTube making my workout videos and teaching, and yeah. I hope that was helpful if maybe you were interested in trying this teacher training or exploring Pilates a little bit more in depth. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I'll make those other videos about kind of like what I wish I knew and all that stuff. Let me know if you have any other questions or want something more in depth. I'm happy to talk about it. Thanks so much.